I'm debating whether or not to do the last pass with pressure or with percussion. But I think I'm going to do a little bit finer tip percussion instead of this larger tip, because I think some of the step fractures are due to the large, slow tip. Yeah, that seems to be working better. And by slow, I mean with a larger tip, it moves slower when you hit it. And these flakes need to be snapped off because it's such a small, lightweight piece. Slow doesn't work too well on these small little pieces. These small little work pieces. They move. It moves too much. You gotta try to snap these flakes off before it knows what's going on. Huh. So to speak. Alright, I could probably finish the rest with pressure. It's pretty thin at the tip. There's a spot right in the middle there that's really, really thin. Let's see if I can even that out a little bit by removing another flake. Because when it's like that, it's really thin right there. Usually it snaps right at that thinnest area. But if I even it out, there's less of a chance of it snapping right there. Yeah, I want to show you that a lot of new guys get these kind of things. I don't know if I'll be able to fix that. I don't know. See, but you can see that step right there, right? I tried to come in and remove that lump with one hit, and it didn't go. Probably should have tried a couple of smaller hits. But I'm fussing way too much. Normally, these don't require this much fussing. It's pretty straightforward. You just knock it out and go on to the next one. And if it breaks, it breaks. You just go on to the next one. But for the video, I've got to be very careful and do this. Okay, so that evened it out a little bit more. And I'll leave it at that and finish it with pressure. Okay, I'm going to finish this up with some pressure. Actually, I don't need this. Okay. Let's see how this works here. Yeah, it's way too soft. It's way too flexible. Be good for a sewing needle or something. Alright, let's see. Or on a different piece of material. That might work better. See, the inside of that concavity is still pretty thick, so I've got to use a more substantial piece than this. This might work for the notching, so I'm going to save it and see what happens. Okay, before I do too much more on the tip, I'm going to do the notching. Still looks pretty thick down there. And the base looks really deep. I don't know, I guess that's fine. Alright, we're going to try the really thin one first. I'm used to showing the overhead view instead of the front view. Sometimes I look in the viewfinder while I'm doing it so I can keep myself in the frame, but I can't do it with this one, with this view. Okay, so that notch looks pretty good. Oops. I'm not going to push it and go much deeper. Yeah, I reached the limit of the strength of this flaker. Now this is from the ulna bone. Also, it's from the upper portion. The ulna bone is really long. Okay, so this is the upper portion. I'm not sure. The one that my friend John gave me. This is the upper portion. I just sanded it down and got some of the membrane off, and sanded it smooth. Yeah, push a little bit too hard. It's okay. I blew out the edges of that notch by pushing too hard. You know, and the semicircular flake that got popped out took a lot of the sides of the notch with it. And I've reached the limit again on the strength. You know, you reach a limit when it just kind of eats away at the flaker. I can't do anything else. It looks like it'll go, but I can't do anything with the bone because it's eating away at the bone and not doing anything. Okay. One more time. I might be able to do it. That's about as good as I'm going to get. Okay. Now if I take this, it's a lot wider. You can see the difference in width. This is I mean, I could sand this down and make it thinner, but why do that when I have this? Okay, so this is as far as I'm going to go with that. I know it's not really that good, but oh well. Okay. So with a little more practice, I could probably get this a lot better. But for now, I'm just going to call it good. Alright, so hopefully I got the rest of that on film. Okay, so that's good enough for me. I'm not going to get out the book and compare, but this is very close to one in the book. So this is just a larger version. Let's see. All right, let's see if I can get this to show up. that helping? I can usually do this when I've got an overhead view, but when I've got it front view, I've got to figure out how to prop these up. Alright, that might work. Okay. Alright, so I may be able to, with some practice, get those notches deeper and more narrow. Now, all I got to do is thin out the blade more, and I can do a lot more. The thinner the blade is, the easier it is to notch, of course. Now this side's got some steps. That I was not happy with, but I'm just going to leave it. With a metal bit, I could run longer flakes with more confidence. I could do that with the antler too, but I would need to set up like I said, set up better edges, and probably do another basal thinning flake. But I would lose a lot of material, and I would have to figure out a way to come in where there's a little bit of extra material, and there's not much extra, so I'm just going to leave it. This side, not too bad. And it's pretty thin. These things were really, really thin in most cases. Okay.